What you hear is what you feel.
And that music lets us know, and lets you know, more importantly, that you have arrived at episode 8 of Lyrical, with me, John, and...
Hello, it's me, Paz.
And the Paz Meister General, as I live and breathe.
Yes, I'm live here.
Now, I'm sure you'll all be dying to know, listeners, are you feeling better this week, Paz, after last week's?
Not as much. A little bit.
Back in the game, or
still not well? I don't know which game we're playing, but yes. Okay.
Back in the game.
In the lyrical game.
Back in the lyrical game. So, but being the ultra professional that you are, you didn't stop you coming last week, and it hasn't stopped you coming this week. So,
I have to be here for the millions of viewers.
Props to Paz, keeping the viewing millions and the listening millions.
The worldwide audience.
And the reason they're here is to hear us analyse songs, Paz. So, without further ado, would you like to fire up the random song generator? He's got a pen this week. Look at that. Peaking my sound levels, but not so much as a tut I can see on my screen. Right, so what have we got? We have got... The Animals, The House of the Rising Sun.
Which animals?
Not the ones from the Muppets, I don't think. Or that is Animal, isn't it? The drummer from the Muppets. The Animals, House of the Rising Sun. Now, I don't think they wrote it, but the last person who did a cover version, we threw straight into Room 103, didn't we? Was it Taylor Swift?
Have we? I don't know.
There's someone we threw in there, didn't we? The pop idol woman. Was that Taylor Swift? Or
no, that was Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, she went in there. Yeah. But this one, however, is I can see from my screen, it's a traditional rendition of an old traditional folk song, sometimes called Rising Sun Blues, but most famously sung, I think, by the Animals in their 1964 hit song of the name The House of the Rising Sun. Mm-hmm. So I played it with one of my guitar students the other day, actually, and it's quite a deep song, so it'd be interesting to see your analysis of the lyrics, see what you make of it, Paz. Mm-hmm. So we will now press play and we'll speak to you on the other side. A quick reminder that all the songs that we use this week will be available as a playlist on our YouTube channel. Correct?
Well, you should be doing that, yeah.
Correct.
Have you done the old ones yet?
So whilst we're listening to the song, I'll busily be creating a playlist to pretend.
Have you done the old playlists?
Yeah, it's there.
They're all done.
Oh, not the old ones, no. Only.
Well, you should do them as well.
Really. Retrospectively.
Yeah.
Jesus, what is this? A dictatorship?
And it's just this is being organised.
Gee, I suppose so.
And people are going to listen back to other.
Anyway,
episodes.
If you listen back to old episodes, you won't be able to find them in the playlist at the moment. But the positive news is if you listen back to this week's episode, there'll be a episode 8 playlist featuring The Animals, House of the Rising Sun. Here we go.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
And that was The House of the Rising Sun by The Animals. Paz, what or where do you think symbolises the House of the Rising Sun, having listened to that song? Is there a metaphoric meaning to it, or literal?
Well, I've put there's a few places it could be. One I'm ruling out, which I've seen around places, the House of the Rising Sun being a takeaway.
I'm sure there is somewhere.
I've seen some stuff like that, but I'm ruling that out because there's nothing about
that one
food.
Off.
And it wouldn't ruin... Well, it could still ruin a poor boy if it's expensive. But then another way, I thought it's easy to go with casino because he mentioned about Dad being a gambling man. But then another way, I thought it could be a brothel. Yeah.
So let's go through the verses and then we'll decide whether it is a gambling den or a brothel or a Chinese takeaway. Okay, my mother was a tailor. She sewed my new blue jeans. My father was a gambling man down in New Orleans. Obviously, it starts with the chorus. There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun. It's been the ruin of many a poor boy, and God, I know I'm one. Mm-hmm. If you'd like to take the second verse, Paz.
Yeah, now the only thing a gambler needs is a suitcase and a trunk. and the only thing he'll be satisfied is when he's all drunk.
And then there was... Go on.
I was just going to say, is it just... I'm taking it they're American, because isn't trunk like suitcase same thing, or not? Or is it just the back of a car in a trunk?
It is, yeah. Trunk, yeah. A suitcase and a trunk. Yeah, so a trunk of your car to put your suitcase in,
Yeah. So that's all right, just making sure.
A man in his hat on the road, basically, it's that metaphor, isn't it? So a man just wherever his feet take him. Then we got an organ solo that went on for about 17 hours, which was quite pleasant. I'm sure you all know if you've heard the song. It's quite a famous song in popular culture. So then we got the verse 3. O mother, tell your children not to do what I have done. That's a quite a nice lyric, isn't it? Do as I say, not as I do. Like I'm sure most parents spend their days doing. Spend your lives in sin and misery in the house of rising sun.
Well, this is where I thought it kind of contradicts and stuff, because when he says "oh mother," it's like he's talking to his own mum. So tell your children, he's either saying you should have told me about this, or he has brothers and sisters. But he's already said not to do what I've done. So for his mum to tell him off and say you shouldn't have done it, or his brothers and sisters not to do what he's done. Do you know what I mean?
You know what? I'm getting images in my head of, remember in the old cowboy films, they got the saloons or the salons, where saloons, it's both a brothel and a gambling den, isn't it? So it's kind of one of those places, I think. We might find out further when I look at the background of it online. But then we go into verse 4, Paz.
Well, I got one foot on the platform, the other foot on the train. I'm going back to New Orleans to wear that ball and chain.
That to me sounded like seeking comfort in your past rather than running away from it. Like you embraced your past and you feel that comfort and you want to go back to what you know and love.
You can't escape.
You can't escape. You can't run away. You
always go back where you're from.
Yeah. Home is where the heart is.
Yep.
Then we've got another chorus. Well, there is a house in New Orleans they call the rising sun. It's been the ruin of many a poor boy, and God, I know I'm one. Mm-hmm. So, did you enjoy the song?
Yeah, I've liked it. I've always liked it. I've heard it in a few films as well. Again. But yeah, I like the guitar at the beginning and all that stuff, and then obviously the organ solo. There's
a great version of it in Sons of Anarchy as well. Curtis Stigers, I think, sings it in a really deep sort of voice, and it's really slowed down and bluesy. And they use it whenever there's a dramatic kind of slow motion, cutaway sequences going on in Sons of Anarchy, which is a really good show. I'd recommend everyone to watch that. The other thing I've written down here is what I was impressed with his raspy vocals again in that song. He had a really good voice. He hit those high bits with a nice bit of grit and rasp in his vocal, didn't he? So props to the Animals singer, whose name is Paz? Phil.
Phil be there.
Phil for me. Whilst I try and find it out.
Oh, Phil.
Phil as in F-I.
Not Philip.
No, Phil.
Philip the bear.
Yeah. Bob Dylan did a vocal arrangement of the song in 1961, the Animals version. They were English. Oh, hang on. An interview with Eric Burden revealed that he first heard the song at a club in Newcastle. Maybe he was in the Animals. Let's just do a little hover on him. Yeah. Eric Burden is an English singer. Yeah, with the rock band America,
so it's a cover.
The Animals. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's an old.
Oh, folk song.
So no one actually knows where its origins are, but there's reference to it in the 1930s. They think it's a traditional English folk song. Not American. Yeah,
just claim it.
Yeah.
John's family wrote it.
Like many folk songs, The House of the Rising Sun is uncertain authorships. Musicologists say that it's based on the tradition of broadside ballads, and thematically it has some resemblance to the 16th century ballad The Unfortunate Rake. Yet there's no evidence suggesting that there is any direct relation. The folk song collector Alan Lomax suggested that the melody might be related to a 17th century folk song, Lord Bernard and Little Musgrave, also known as Matty Groves. But a survey by Bertrand Bronson showed no clear relationship between the songs. Blimey. So yeah, lots of people have done it. Seems Bob Dylan did it before the Animals, but it's really suited their voice, didn't it? That raspiness. The Animals first began featuring an arrangement of the song during a joint concert tour with Chuck Berry, using it as their closing number most nights to differentiate themselves from acts that always closed with straight-ahead rock songs. It got a tremendous reaction from the audience, convincing initially reluctant producer Mickey Moist they had hit potential. And between tour stops, the group went into a small recording studio in Kingsway in London to capture it. Brilliant. The song was recorded in just one take in 1964. Blimey, yeah. Yeah, and it... Where did it get to? Let's have a look.
So is it a casino or brothel or both?
Doesn't see. Well, no, I don't think anyone knows because of the unknown origins of it. So would you believe it went to number 1 in America, UK, Spain, Finland, Canada, Australia only got to number 2. Italy, your lot didn't like it very much.
Kylie Minogue won number 1.
It got to 12. What are you playing at, you lot?
There's too many other good songs out there, isn't there?
I'd like to see what the other 11 songs were better than that that week. We'll have to have a look at the Italian charts on 1964. We'll do that for next week and let you know what the 11 more popular songs in the Animals' House of the Rising Sun was. Okay, good song to start with there. Nice bluesy one. Hits you in the feels, that song, doesn't it? Beautiful song. If you'd like to fire up the random song generator...
I'll put down the pen.
He's putting down his pen. He appears to have drawn some kind of a monkey or something on his paper I can see there as well. Is that a monkey, Paz?
I don't know. It just said you had a circle and a blade thing and I just drew on it.
It's not me, is it?
It can be you with a hat on.
I haven't got any beardage on there, so it can't be me.
I can add some beard. There we go.
Anyway, you distracted me from the random song generator.
I did fire it up and now you just missed it.
Which I am going to be honest with you, Paz. It's not a random song at all. It's a song that I sent to you the other day because I said this would be good to feature on the show and I think you'd enjoy analysing it. It's by a band which I love and I went to see the other day in London called Manchester Orchestra. And as I clarified to you when I told you about it, they're neither from Manchester nor are they an orchestra. They just wanted a grandiose sounding name in the traditions of Queen and they wanted it to be kind of Englishy, so they went with Manchester and Orchestra because it made them sound like, well, I think that I read a thing with a singer once, he didn't want it to be just him, say an orchestra gave the impression that there's lots of different musicians and he wanted his band to be fluid, people coming out and lots of people, so that's where they got the name from. Okay. And the song, I can't remember what it's called now, haven't I?
That's a good start.
Oh, God, what's it called?
It was a long time ago you sent me that, actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
Just so you can pretend you can't remember it.
Well, I can't.
It's called The Angel of Death, this one. It's on their 6th album, I believe. Track 2. Cracking song. One of my colleagues said to me the other day that we were talking about the best songs ever and she threw up a Bruce Springsteen song, so obviously pulled a face at her and then said, I think I can beat you. This one is up there. This takes a lot of beating. So for those that are listening along to it, it's Manchester Orchestra, Angel of Death. There is a lyrical version as well, with the lyrics that pop up on screen. So I'll print the lyrics off for you now, Paz, and I'll put it in our playlist so those of our listeners can watch and listen along with us. So this is Manchester Orchestra, The Angel of Death.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
And that was Angel of Death by Manchester Orchestra. Beautiful song. The music is beautiful. The lyrics are beautiful. The singing is beautiful. Great song. I just love it to pieces. I keep putting it on repeat in my car. Sent it to so many people to say, check this out. And what did you think of it, Paz?
I didn't like it. No, I did.
You were teed up for that one, weren't you?
Yeah, you were queuing that up for me.
Yeah, I was, wasn't I?
But echo all the things you've said. I think at the time as well, when you sent it to me, I said that main singer, he reminds me of that Passenger. I think the style, the way he sings, it's got a similar voice. And then, overall, I liked it too.
Yeah, beautiful piece of work. It makes you want to be a better musician yourself. Some people get intimidated when they hear great songs, but it's always made me think, shit, I better up my game. I need to write better songs. I need to write better lyrics whenever I hear beautiful pieces of work like that. But some songs, as we've covered them on here, the lyrics look nonsensical, don't they, when we look at them written down on paper, but when they're away from the context of the actual song itself. But looking at these lyrics here, it could be a poem, couldn't it, on its own? The words would probably stand on their own somewhat in some places. So first verse, driving with the Angel of Death, I passed by your old apartment, sniffing up the pills you left inside the limousine. Nobody could tell me how far. You said we'll stop to read each tea leaf. Nobody could tell me how long. Just pacing patiently. Any thoughts on the first verse, Paz?
Well, I don't know why he's pacing in a limousine. But no, but
maybe it's one like Fred Flintstone. His feet come out the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. In the other, it sounds like from those bits there, obviously the other half or ex-partner is not there anymore. Whether it is down to them actually being dead, or because it says about angel death, but whether it's about them being dead or they're just no longer there, no longer in their lives anymore.
Yeah, I took that to mean that it's about a friend or a former wife or partner that's passed away from the first. I think the whole themes of the song are kind of around that kind of loss sort of element, aren't they? So we go on to the first chorus, which is I arrive in the form of a radical being. You arrive, but the story can never be told. Then second verse, sleeping with the angel of death this time instead of driving. I still find you in my shadow, learning how the mirror reflects. I lose myself in you. I was told it wouldn't be long. Life's a basket full of cravings, better than the evil you know. Repeat yourself in me. Then the second chorus, you arrive on the hood of your stepfather's Lincoln. That would go down with a car accident, wouldn't it? So maybe his stepfather hit her, or it says it's to do with a woman, isn't it? The surprise, and I couldn't remember the words. I'm on fire, and the guilt's doing all of the thinking. I'm alive, but it isn't the same as before. It's the themes are like an accident when it sort of changed the person writing the song, isn't it?
Or also again, it could be a memory of when they, like in America or even here now, they'd go to proms and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So
yeah, you're right. Actually, I said this to someone who I sent the song to. Actually, that some of the later verses, which we'll get on to in a minute, is kind of about him being in love with somebody and then having betrayed them and having cheated on them, and then finding especially the lines at the end. It's harder now to hold you. So after he's cheated on them, he's finding it hard to, everything's changed and he's betrayed the person that he's invested so much time in and stuff like that. So maybe it's a car accident. Maybe it is him cheating on the person he's in love with.
Yeah, because he gets intimate next.
He does, yeah.
Intimate.
Slowly we become a single mould, watching as my skin becomes your skin and starts to hold. I was told that there's a wonder in the place our bodies go. Driving round the sins of both my lives will keep you cold. I deserve it. I've been stalling. I've been selfish. I've been wrong. Finally I heard my name, the absolution called. Now I need it. Now I crave the writing burned into the wall. Sitting in your hands to watch the ending of it all. Sounds like he's seeking
that's where I think that line
forgiveness,
particular, like where it says driving round the sins of both my lives will keep you
cold.
So he's living two lives,
cheating on someone that he loves, and then those lines would fit nicely with him seeking some forgiveness, maybe from a religion element or something like that. Where do we get to? I arrive in the eyes of my grandfather's daughter. I always loved that lyric when I listened to it in the car as well. So sometimes you can fall out with your mum, can't you? But then sometimes I thought I heard the singer say somewhere that he fell out with his mum or something. But then he's close to his granddad, and his granddad said to him, like, "Come on, it's your mum. It's my daughter as well. It's not just your mum. It's my daughter." And it kind of helped him recontextualize it, that the person that he was being horrible to was not only his mother, but it was his grandfather who he loved, his daughter. So it made him feel bad for being horrible to his grandfather's daughter. In the light, but I couldn't remember your words. That's kind of like words being passed down from the grandfather, isn't it? So words that have certain meanings and
wisdom and stuff.
And then you forget it at the very time that you need it. I survived, and the guilt's falling off me in pieces. I'm alive, but it isn't the same as before. That would go to our cheating sort of thing as well, wouldn't it?
This is where it breaks down.
Yeah. I thought this time I might just walk away from you. If I'm the thief and you're the proof, it's pain to choose. It felt like a first, but it wasn't new. It felt like a sin, but it was more like a noose. It's harder now to hold you. It's harder now to hold you. I'm ashamed, lost my decree. It paid to lose. The first of 60,000 hours obsessed with you. It wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the truth. I tried blaming me, ended up blaming you. It's harder now to hold 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 you. That would go down to someone being horrible to someone. It's kind of, what's that called in psychology, Paz, where you've done something to someone, so you deliberately horrible to them, so they've got a reason to hate you because you can't cope with the guilt kind of thing. Does that make sense? There's
I know what you mean. I can't.
Schadenfreude or some word to it, isn't there, like that? So you give them a reason to hate you because you've done something guilty-wise to let them down.
A death of a relationship, basically.
It is, yeah. Like the crumpled paper analogy, isn't it? When you crumple a bit of paper, it's never the same again. Or if you rip a paper, you can tape it back together, but the rips and the tears are still there. So overall, having got to the end of that, what did you think the song was about then, Paz?
Yeah, I agree with what you say in the sense of it sounds like he's been living two lives. One, he's cheating with however many people. The other, obviously, with her or him. Yeah.
And he can't look her in the eye anymore, and it's ruined everything.
And then it's just kind of reminiscing over the whole relationship.
Made him reanalyze what...
Yeah.
And fall in love with the person that he's betrayed again, and then he can't cope with the guilt and stuff like that. And it's him that's dealing with the burden of that. And they're dealing with him being horrible to her, and she hasn't done anything wrong, kind of thing. And that's adding to his guilt. Yeah, good song, and that's why I love the whole emotion of that song, and the singer's voice is just beautiful, isn't it? So that was me indulging myself and sharing a song which I like with Paz and the viewing millions or listening millions.
Why not?
Why not? Why the hell not? What's the point in having a podcast if you can't indulge yourself every now and again?
We make the rules, we do what we want.
Yeah, exactly. My day, my way. It's like having your birthday, isn't it? My day, my way. Right, so our time for our third track then, Paz. If you'd like to fire up your pen or your fingers or whatever you're doing, and we need a different rhythm from you this time, not in your fingers.
Okay.
That was, of course, the famous song Knock Knock with a nice little drum roll at the end, I think. So what have we got this time? Let's have a look.
What song will we get?
We have got The Smiths. Morrissey et al. Morrissey, Johnny Marr and all from Manchester. Seamless link, Paz. Manchester Orchestra to a band from Manchester.
Right.
The random song generator has passed us comedy gold to link from one to the other. So the song is called How Soon Is Now. I've never heard this song, have you?
It doesn't ring a bell.
Morrissey cribbed lyrics for this song from George Eliot, but guitarist Marr cited another reference. Derek and the Dominoes, he said, I wanted an intro that was almost as potent as Layla, he said, when it plays in a club or a pub so that everyone knows what it is instantly from the first riff. Okay. Now let's listen to this song then. This is How Soon Is Now from the Smiths, released in February 1985. It said it did not chart. So maybe it was a B-side or just to promote an album.
So it worked what they were trying to do, yeah?
Yeah, it worked. We've never heard of it and it didn't get into the charts. Johnny Marr, you need to go back to the drawing board, my old chum. Okay, so this is The Smiths. As ever, it's in the playlist.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
And that was The Smiths with How Soon Is Now. I recognised it as soon as it started. So
his job worked for you?
It kind of did, yeah. As soon as the song started, I recognised the riff and which of their songs it was. That's probably my favourite of the Smiths songs. I wouldn't say I'm particularly Smiths fan. I've got their greatest hits, but don't really listen to it too much because it's very miserable and mournful. But that was a good song. It's a bit boring.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that riff at the beginning and that chorus bit, the first line of the chorus is quite striking, isn't it? That you shut your mouth. But as we discussed during our listening party here, why did Morrissey not flesh out that melody to be more powerful and repeated it? He just kind of went off in a different direction with some lyrics that he seemed to try and shoehorn in, didn't he, after that? And then we had to, I suppose we could say and flip the coin on that and say it's quite clever that you have to wait for the next time that it comes around to get that catchy bit, the next chorus, when he gets back to you shut your mouth. You buying that?
No.
Is it shit songwriting, or is he being clever by teasing you and making you have to listen all the way to the next chorus for that line again?
I found, because it does the I am the sun and the air of a shyness that is criminally vulgar. I am the son and heir of nothing in particular. You shut your mouth.
You shut your
How
mouth.
can you say I go about things
How can you
the wrong
say I
way?
go about the things the wrong way?
I am human and I need to be loved, just like everybody else does. He repeats it in this version we've heard. I don't know if that is how they wanted it to be, but they could have literally cut out that whole second repeat out. Then it goes into like an instrumental which goes on forever.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't feel personally that the vocal went with this instrumental. It just didn't. It didn't for me. It just didn't fit. It just sounded like someone was badly mixing two things together.
Yeah, I agree. It seemed to me like Johnny Marr had written the music, and then Morrissey had taken it away and then kind of
just spoke over it.
You know my loathing of people that shoehorn lyrics in rather than fitting them to the melody and trying to fit a tune to the song. So it seemed to me like Morrissey had just shoehorned in these particular lyrics and hadn't given it too much thought.
I mean, sorry, I can't. It's in my throat.
Paz is so emotional at listening to the Smiths that it's choking him up inside.
I was going to say, if I can, I'm trying to speak. I can't.
Come on, hold it together, big man. Hold it together.
Right.
Come on, you can do this.
I originally wrote.
Do you want a tissue?
No, I'm all right. I originally wrote better as instrumental, and then I changed that to actually some sounds of the track, like the thing that sounded like the car going past me.
Yeah,
that's about it that I liked.
Well, it's a Trematron guitar, which other listeners will know. It was also used by Green Day in Boulevard of Broken Dreams. That like a Trematron. It's a repeating guitar. It's like, used on quite a lot of songs. I've used it on one of my tracks actually, but it sounded too much like Boulevard of Broken Dreams to me. So Green Day have kind of ruined it for everyone else. So you can't use a Trematron anymore. So how long would it have been between the Smiths and Green Day that the Trematron was forgotten that the Smiths had used it in How Soon Is Now? Did I say 1983?
I don't know.
Let me have a look. It was 1985. So Boulevard of Broken Dreams was out in the noughties, wasn't it? Early noughties. So it gave a good 15, 20 years before it was used again. So maybe I can get away with using it in my track. I've also written down here, Morrissey is kind of a hero to that generation, isn't he, for his lyrics and stuff like that, but I didn't find them very engaging at all. I've put down trite poetry and themes, not particularly clever or nuanced in any way. It's just very obvious, which to me, when art's black and white, it's boring, isn't it? There needs to be some kind of context and sort of subtlety and alluding to certain things and sort of little contradictions and stuff.
It's like me saying, I'm a millionaire, blah, 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 and then going, but I have no money. Do you know what I mean? He's saying one thing and then he kind of, in the next sentence, he's not. Like, I am the son, I'm the heir of a shyness that is criminally vulgar. I am the son and heir of nothing in particular. It's like, it's kind of swapping it. And then when he goes to the club, you could meet someone, but then, so you go and you stand on your own, you leave on your own, and then you want to die and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a bit obvious, isn't it?
It was just, I don't know. I know they, like every other acts and stuff, they've all got their fans. They're all going to have people who are going to go, well, it is a good song, it's this, isn't this? But it's just, for me personally, I just didn't find it fitted at all with anything.
What popped into my mind was Rick from the Young Ones, because he used to do that real crap poetry, didn't he? That wasn't subtle or nuanced at all in it, and those lyrics kind of sounded a bit like that kind of university culture of that age, wasn't it? The mid-80s, early to mid-80s, and they all thought they were really clever and interesting, but I've got news for you folks. You won't. Okay, I'm sure they think the same about me, but bollocks to you. Okay, that was the Smiths, How Soon Is Now. Did you enjoy it overall?
No.
You've heard the song. Again, it sounds like every song on the 80s sounds like a match of the day compilation song, doesn't it? Like goals of the month kind of compilation song. Right, so our last one of the week then, Paz, if you'd like to fire up the random song generator. Is that some kind of Native American rhythms that you're knocking out there, or is it some Italian Latin beat?
It's something.
It's something. It's certainly something.
There's no beat to it.
Right, it's Aretha Franklin. I don't know this one. Well, I don't know the title of the track. I'm sure we might know it when we listen to it. It's Do Right Woman, Do Right Man. Ever heard of that one?
Do
Released
right,
in
woman,
March
do right.
1967. It was in the charts for 11 weeks and it got to number 9. It's a simmering ballad.
Okay.
Franklin disappeared after a 1967 session in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, leaving this simmering ballad unfinished. A few weeks later, she resurfaced in New York. The resulting vocal, said producer Wexler, was speech marks perfection. It appears on her album I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, and that is the name of an album. I'm not speaking to Paz. I should clarify that is the name of an album and not a love ode to Paz. Okay, so let's listen to this one. This is Aretha Franklin with Do Right Woman, Do Right Man.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
So that was Aretha Franklin with Do Right Woman, Do Right Man. Thoughts on that song, Paz?
Aretha Franklin can't sing, obviously. Oh, look, our telephone is buzzing. Is the red light's going off? I'm only kidding. She can sing, obviously. It's good vocally. I think the lyrics are pretty simple, and I'm not as keen on the theme of the song.
No, we said when we were listening to it, it's difficult to gauge if it's any good as a song because she's such a good singer that she could kind of make any kind of song good by her beautiful vocals. So, it was difficult to sort of gauge any melody. The chorus was alright, wasn't it? That little...
Yeah, the beat is very simple just because it is more about her vocals than the song.
And then she just takes it away, doesn't she? Each verse with her beautiful singing.
It's just, as I say, the theme, it's another one of those women empowered type songs, and I can't relate to that.
Which we fully embrace here at Lyrical.
I mean, the best bit of the song for me was right at the end where there was a change and they brought in the
Harsh,
piano and
when
all
it
that.
ended.
And then it ended.
Also, I've written down here, the Motown, they didn't muck around, did they? There's no like long intros with their songs. They were like bum, 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 bang, straight in with the singing, didn't they?
That's
They
what I
didn't
like
muck
doing as
around.
well. I'd like probably a 4-bar intro maybe, and that's about it.
As somebody that's faced criticism from his bandmates over the years for writing really long intros of about minutes and 2 minutes, I struggle with that, but I can see the benefit of going straight in.
Obviously, it depends on the song itself. I'm not saying every single one's got to be like that, but it's
messing in it.
For me, as I say, when I do my songs, I'm usually writing to a verse that I've created, but I'll just add a 4-bar intro so I know when to come in. That's about it. Yeah. And then sometimes I just think, okay, I'll leave it like that and that's it, or I'll put a bigger intro.
I think they were obsessed with the radio time of songs in those days, weren't they? They had to be exactly 3 minutes, or the radio wouldn't play it, man. But then when you get good bands like Led Zeppelin on going, we don't give a shit if they don't play it. 6 minutes, you play it or you don't play it. Who gives a crap?
20-minute track.
Yeah, 20-minute tracks like Pink Floyd and stuff like that. They don't really care. They do radio edits, don't they, to sometimes get a bit
they'll cut it down and that.
Yeah, but they don't pan to radios. In those days, I get the impression that radios could obviously make or break songs. Can they say the Motown crew were like, right, we've got to get this down at 3.5 minutes or 3 minutes with perfect pop song length. It was a good, harmless song. When it's like a montage kind of song from a film, and it like where a guy's driving in a car to visit his mum or something, and there's a little montage going on whilst that song plays in the background. Harmless enough. Great singing from Aretha. You can see why she just left the recording studio when they were working on that one, because it probably didn't bite her on the arse, did it? They obviously persuaded her to go back and record some lyrics out of top of it.
The only bit that they did where they say she came back and done it was that piano bit where it changed at the end, and she basically went, I'm just going to say what I said earlier, and that's it.
Yeah.
That was the only kind of change from the other 2 bits, so I don't know.
It was a good song, wasn't it? But it was harmless enough. I say it didn't go to number 1, did it? I wonder where it got to in Italy. That's the question on everyone's lips, isn't it?
Not probably, yeah.
If that previous song didn't, what was it? House of New Orleans, House of the Rising Sun didn't get anywhere. How's this going to do in Italy? So Phil Paz, while I look it up.
Oh, the old Philip.
Phil.
Philip Bear from the Animals.
Phil.
I'll do a good job of that elsewhere.
Is this one of your crap jokes about like dickhead again?
I don't know.
At the beginning of the
I
song,
don't feel well. Okay,
Franklin sings with a gospel-inspired tone which continues through to the bridge. Through overdubbing, Franklin plays both the piano and the organ. Oh, she played the piano. Good old girl.
Piano.
According to Bill Janovitz of AllMusic, I don't know who he is.
Giblets.
Do Right Woman, Do Right Man contrasts the power of temptation and the rewards of fidelity. He notes that its melody is soothing.
Okay.
Patricia Hill Collins writes that it has a feminist message urging African American men to respect women as their equals and not follow the then common belief that is a man's world by using or abusing them. She also writes that the song urges men to be loyal, responsible, and sexually expressive. Although the song is heavily inspired by soul, covers have been provided in different styles. For example, the Flying Burrito Brothers cover in 1969 was presented as a country soul waltz. Okay, Cher's covered it, Diane Warwick's covered it, Etta James has covered it, Willie Nelson's covered it, The Commitments, Joe Cocker, Whitney Houston,
and John will
Sinead O'Connor. No, he won't. I don't think so. So where did it get to in the charts? Let's have a look. Critical reception. Spent 11 weeks in the charts, peaking at number 9. There's no information as to how it got on in Italy.
Didn't chart.
You'll be sad. Yeah, there was 11 better songs than that week as well. The Italians are very demanding, aren't they, with their pop songs? Not good. So what's number 1 in Italy right now then, Paz? What kind of music's popular? What kind of music's popular in Italy? Is they like
probably the same as all over the world. Everywhere's the same now, isn't it?
What, English language stuff or in Italian?
Yeah, they all do.
Yeah, there's not sort of specific Italian sort of singing.
Well, they do their own songs as well. Yeah,
that's a direct quote. In Italy, they don't do Italian songs. Yeah, from Paz.
From John.
If you wish to take that up with Paz, you can contact. What's your Hotmail address?
I don't know, the one you make up for me.
pazmondo@hotmail.co.uk. So we're probably going to get ripped by this guy who actually owns the real pazmondo@hotmail.co.uk. Okay, so with Paz in ruins, an emotional wreck after that Smith song earlier, we couldn't even get his words out. It's either that or his illness. We better let you go. I mean, Paz, so you can get back to
go home
and recuperate in peace and quiet whilst I edit this podcast back down. So what were your thoughts on this week's songs? Are there any favourites? I
would go, let's have a look.
If you were an Italian chart commission, how would you rank them?
The Smiths and Aretha Franklin weren't ready for me, and then the other two I thought I actually like both of them. Obviously I know the Rising Sun one more than the Angel of Death one, but I do like both. So I'll put them in joint first, and the others in joint last.
Well, joint 11th in Italy, because there's obviously 11 better songs than them around at the moment. So
exactly.
they're joint 11th. Okay, so as ever, all it falls upon us is to close down the podcast by saying...
That's it from me, and that's it from him.
Yeah, that's it from me, and that's it from him. No, it's actually Q end credits.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Lyrical. What you hear is what you feel.